In this episode of Treatment Room Secrets, host Dani Marks sits down with Rebel Massage founder Alison Denney, a therapist, educator, and YouTube creator who's redefined what it means to be a rebel in the massage world. Allison opens up about her journey from philosophy major to hands-on healer, how she built one of the most authentic voices in our industry, and why embracing imperfection, humor, and individuality can make us better therapists. It's a conversation about creativity, courage, and carving your own path without losing your heart along the way.
Alison Denney of Rebel Massage is with us today. How are you, Alison?
I'm good, Dani. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much. So I told you I am in sunny South Florida. I believe you're in California.
I am.
Is that
sunny but overcast today, Southern California.
All right, very nice. Are you from California? Are you born and raised in California?
I'm not. I'm from Philadelphia and spent 18 years there, and then lived in Colorado for a while, and eventually just kept going west.
So what is the reason for the migration?
I think from like birth, I just wanted to get out and explore, and always was curious about what it would be like to live in other places. And then, Colorado just appealed to me after I graduated from college. So I went there, and then California was me following a boy who ended up being my husband, who is now my ex-husband, but it's all good.
And now it's home.
Now it's home. I mean, it's been home for 25 years almost. So 24, yeah, something like that. It's crazy.
Very good. So, and I want to learn about you. Because we mentioned the massage world and the massage space. Your channel, and I want to know what your personality, let's say, on your brand online has always stuck out. And I think, at least for me personally, it stuck out and in a good way, because of the maybe slightly provocative name that you chose, which is nice, which is very nice. And I want to ask you about that, and kind of what led you to just coming from that angle and prism of labeling yourself as a rebel. And I'm asking that because it's so interesting, because you obviously set this up years ago, and even today it just seems like within the massage therapy industry, generalizing, and also many other industries in healthcare, it's like things are very systematic and slow moving, and rebels are very easily singled out and red flagged.
Yes.
So it's almost like it could be falling on your own sword by labeling yourself from the get-go as a rebel. So what's the inception of that?
Yeah, I mean, all of those things are very true and very applicable to my whole story. But there's a couple of different levels here. I think that labeling myself as a rebel and, drawing eyes on me is part of my personality kind of innately. And I've always kind of really veered away from working for somebody else and being under somebody else's guidelines and rules and regulations. So it really fit, the name really fit with me. But the bigger level to it for me has always been that the definition of rebel, if you look it up in the dictionary, is, somebody who's kind of trying to take down authority. But the Urban Dictionary definition is more about really having a voice and finding your own path and defining your own person. And those two things are very similar, but also very different. And I feel like that's where I stand within the rebel. The word rebel is so much more about, I maybe resonated with it when I was younger because I felt rebellious and I was like, you can't tell me what to do. But then I really resonated with it as an adult and in a professional career, because I do think that there is something to that side of us that feels like well, wait a minute, like you're telling me to do this, but I have a question about it, or I want to know more, and I want to feel it, and I want to resonate with it, and I want to um, own it. And I think that's a big part of what I'm trying to create for this community, and what I've tried to create for myself and my own practice has always been, I'm learning this technique from this person and this technique from this person, but I want to kind of meld those things and make them my own. I don't make them my own. I don't necessarily want to, go against any kind of moral guidelines or any kind of, I don't want to cross any boundaries that are not respectful. That is not what this is about. This is so much more about me saying, this is the work that I do. This really works for me. I've discovered a lot that is nuanced and curated from lots of different areas. And I think we all have that in us. I think we all learn lots of things and then go, I can take that, but I'm going to apply it in a way that feels right for me. And I'm going to use it in ways that feel right for my clients. And I feel like I was looking for something like that as a newer therapist, and I wanted to be something like that for therapists coming into the field as I had gained maturity in this work.
So how soon into your massage therapy career did you start the brand Rebel Massage?
It was about, I'm going to say it was about 15 years in, and it's hard for me to define, but I was a therapist for 10 years, and then I started teaching. And when I started teaching is when I started my YouTube channel, and that started, I guess it was around then. I guess it was like 11 or 12 years in. And then so I started to make YouTube videos, and it was, I started to make them because my students were in my classroom, and this is like at the dawn of smartphones, and they would pull out their phones and film what I was doing. And they were the ones who were like, Miss Allison, if you videotaped yourself and posted this on YouTube, we would watch this. This would be a great way for us to kind of learn and see what you're doing and practice your techniques. And I was like, YouTube, what? Film, what? Like, what are you even talking about? And then I did, and it just started to grow. I mean, I actually had a different YouTube channel before Rebel Massage, and we won't even talk about that one. It was so silly, and it's just, you learn by making mistakes. That's how you learn. That's how I learned.
But what do you mean? What do you mean by making mistakes?
It was a channel that I cast the net too broad. I was trying to do too many things. I didn't have a clear focus. I made a lot of those mistakes in the first videos. I was doing things that wasn't resonating, wasn't landing. I didn't have a clear vision, and it helped me to hone down what I wanted to do. So I got rid of that channel. And it was within the next year or two in there that I kind of had lots of moments internally where I was like, well, what do I want? What do I want this to be? And who do I want to be if this is going to be something that is going to grow? Who do I want to be for the massage therapy community? And I just decided that I wanted to be something that I hadn't seen out there and that I would have wanted for myself if I was a new student. And I wanted something that felt, a little more relatable, a little funnier, a little just kind of, not the, I don't know. For me, sometimes a lot of it felt a little mundane or a little, just kind of not exciting. And I wanted to bring humor back in and bring a part of being a human being back into the reality of how overwhelming and hard this can be for a massage therapist. So
make it like a bit authentic and a bit light and not just textbook type things.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure I've made some mistakes along the way, but I feel like a lot of people have gotten a lot out of it, and that's all I could ask for. I mean, it's been amazing. So it's been, to answer your question, I don't know, somewhere within the 17, 18-year mark of officially my first YouTube video, something like that.
But do you did you feel, because something like, also maybe presumably drove you to choosing the name or feeling in that way, that maybe you wanted to create their own version of you and to have a voice and teach things your way? Is it, did you feel in those first 15, 17 years that you couldn't, were restricted to some degree?
Yeah, no, and I should correct myself. It wasn't 15 to 7. This was 12 to 13 years in, which now I guess is about 10 years ago. I don't know. I get
Yeah,
really
yeah. That's,
confused about the
yeah.
math when I look back at all of it, because there's so many like different levels of how my brand has grown. It's hard for me to really
Also,
remember.
I think COVID knocked off everyone's couple
Brains.
years of everyone's brain. Yeah, brains.
Totally. So when I did start, I think my first video was in 2016. I'm going to say that. So whatever that is, that's 9 years ago. Yes, I felt like everything within the massage world felt like calm and soothing and flowery and nourishing and nurturing. And I was like, that's all great. Like, that's amazing. But there's also another part of me that I felt wanted to be heard, in terms of feeling like there was other people like me who probably felt the same way, wanting to just not wanting to be a massage therapist, but not totally be embedded in this flowery, nurturing world. I wanted something that was like, yes, but this is like hardcore information, and this is exactly how it can be applied, or this is how you can think about it differently, and this is the funny part about it, and this is the interesting part about it. That I don't want to just be like, look at how amazing our human bodies are, but at the same time, I do want to say how amazing our human bodies are, but in ways that are, I don't know, just pushed our ability to take that information in ways that I wanted to hear it. I hope all that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, it does, and I'm trying to think of parallels. Like, I was always in the played soccer my entire life. That was my dream and my pursuit in life. But it's like, if you want to be a soccer player, even today, looking at kids, playing as teenagers, it's almost like forced to, or they choose to adopt certain ideologies and philosophies, and even by the way, the hairstyle, the dress, the words they use, how they carry themselves, how they walk, what shoes they buy, just to fit in with the community, so like you can be accepted or look like a soccer player, massage therapist, you name it.
Exactly.
It's probably like that in every industry to some degree.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that I spent much of my like childhood and teenage years trying so hard to fit in some mold, and then hitting some point, I don't know, in my 20s, where I was like, why am I trying so hard to fit into a mold that I don't fit into? And I want to feel okay with being me. I wanted my ideas about who I was to be okay. You know, all within, again, the scope of, not doing things that are stupid or ridiculous or going to hurt anybody, but within the scope of um I think what we all feel. I think we all, exactly like what you were just feeling, I think we all get to this place of working so hard to try to fit into a mold, and then we feel kind of miserable inside all the time because none of us really get there. So, it's okay to be you. It's okay to be me. It's okay to have thoughts where we are questioning what we're doing, or we're not happy, or we're not understanding it completely, and we're wondering why our brains aren't understanding things. I mean, we all have those thoughts, and I just think that's okay.
What was your initial like reaction when you even on version 2.0, when you started the new YouTube channel and you started sharing things with a maybe more honed vision, that started landing with people? Like, what was the reception from people? And also, whoever doesn't know, check out Rebel Massage on YouTube and other places. But it's pretty successful YouTube channel. I think I saw you have over 300,000 subscribers, and some of the videos have millions of
Mhm.
views, which,
Mhm.
and the engagement in the comments, is also phenomenal. And also coming from a company that we also have a successful YouTube channel, so we it's difficult. Like 99.9% of YouTube channels are not like that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing. So what was the reception when things started landing?
I mean, more than anything, my reaction was, okay, people do want to see what I want to see. I mean, that was my whole basis. I would film stuff and I would try to film it in a way that I wanted to see it. Like as a massage student, I wanted to like see what the hands were doing and I wanted to understand why this technique worked with this particular whatever it was scenario with this client's muscles and this client's issues and all the things. And so I just tried to put out there what I wanted to see. And so I felt happy that there were people out there who wanted to see the same things that I wanted to see, because then it makes us feel like we have a community and we feel similarly. I mean, maybe they didn't want to see exactly what I wanted to see, but it obviously was speaking to a different voice or speaking with a different voice. And I think, I was overwhelmed and excited and really thrilled that it became successful. And I have loved every minute of it. I mean, I've really genuinely loved every minute of it.
Now, I mean, now you're obviously, presumably more established than you were in 2016, or when you started the channel, and just your brand as a whole. But in the early days, maybe when your brand was maybe still finding its footsteps and a bit more fragile, was there like any restriction or just maybe the establishment not liking the voices being shared in this way?
I think that it would be the opposite. Like I felt so much freedom in the beginning because I was like, if it fails, it fails. I don't care. Like I have nothing attached to it. I have nothing anchored to it.
Yeah.
And now I have so much anchored to it that I get more in my head about what I put out there, which is probably not a good thing, because I think I know that I love authenticity. And I know when I think too hard about what I'm putting out there, it doesn't feel as authentic. It feels more pre-scripted. And I'm more worried about that now than anything else. I feel like in the beginning, I was just like, this is so fun. I'm just going to teach in the way I want to teach. I'm going to video the way that I want to video. And I want the stuff to go out in the way that I want to go out. And now I'm like, but there's a lot of people watching.
The authenticity is it's an abstract idea that's even difficult for one to know, even if they are being authentic. Like how do you think you kind of figured that out or wrestled with that in your life to bring out authentic you?
Oh my gosh, Dani. I mean, aren't we all questioning that all the time?
All the time. But most of us hide it, wrestling with it, and then put it to bed. I think.
Yeah, I agree. But again, I think this is like where something inside of me from birth has just been like, no, I can't deal with being muffled or living something I'm not feeling. I have never been able to deal with that. And so I think whatever it is inside of me that is constantly like, something happens, something occurs in my life, whether it's an interaction with a human or a video that doesn't do well, or I have a client that doesn't love my work, or whatever it is, I am going to lay down and close my eyes and really think, okay, but where's my role in this? And how can I look at this in a way that is going to be true to what I'm wanting to create? Because I can, I think it's the whole question of what's more important, to be liked by lots of people or to like yourself. And I think always for me, I try to get to a point where I'm liking myself, because then I think if you like yourself, I like people who like themselves. So I think that if you like yourself, that is an attractive quality. And so I'm constantly getting back to that point. I'm constantly trying to, like I said, close my eyes and feel like, well, if I have this reaction to this interaction, then am I having that reaction to appease somebody and make them like me more? Or am I genuine to myself and wanting to, whatever it is, heal a wound or create a connection because it's coming from my heart? And I'm always working on that and always trying to drop into whatever that deepest part of me is, which, I think is where authenticity lives.
Did you ever, I don't know, is it a mentor, mentors, teacher, books that you read that kind of even guided you through this, or that still guide you through it?
I for college, for my undergraduate degree, before I went to massage school, I was a philosophy and religion major. So I spent 4 years in college thinking very deeply and studying the philosophers and the religious gurus and just diving really deep into that. So lots of books and lots of studies and lots of thoughts around this whole topic. It's definitely just so deeply ingrained to who I am.
Yeah, really interesting. So why massage therapy for you after you graduated?
Well, not like I could get a job in philosophy and religion. That was a
Yeah.
little, a little hard. So when I graduated, I went to school in upstate New York, and then I moved out to Colorado. And I didn't know what I was doing when I moved to Colorado, so I played. I was playing a lot. I was working as a waitress, and I was mountain biking, and I was in a dance troupe, and I was using my body a lot, and I was receiving a lot of massage at the time. And the Boulder College of Massage Therapy was right there, and I was like, I feel like I could do that. And this incredible school is right here. And I just did it.
And never looked back. And
Never looked back.
and
I
from
can't say that. I can't
yeah,
say that. I've looked back. I mean, I've definitely
yeah,
looked back. In the first couple of years of my career, it's a hard career, as you know. I mean, it's very laborsome. And I wasn't quite ready for that. So in the first, 3 or 4 years, I was like, how am I going to do this? This is really, really hard. And then I switched my brain with a lot of work. I can't just say it was like a flip of a
yeah.
switch.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because that is right. I mean,
It's really
tens of thousands, or if not hundreds of thousands, of massage
Yeah.
therapists will quit this year,
Yep.
even. So what is that? Is it just is there like a lack of expectation also that some massage therapists have before jumping into the workforce?
I mean, I think this is a great topic, and I will continue to talk from my own lens, because I feel like that's kind of how I see it most applicably. I think that I chose massage school because it felt easy. It was right there. It was, for the school that I went to, it was 1,000 hours, which relatively speaking was smaller than lots of the other schools that I was considering going to, not massage schools, but like I was thinking about being a nurse, or I was thinking about, doing things that took a lot more schooling. So now these days, massage schools are anywhere from 300, 600, 800 hours, some are 1,000 more, but it's smaller than a lot of other professional degrees.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, it's the easy route. And I had this mindset of wanting to choose easy things. And I think once I got out there and I realized that it wasn't actually easy, I struggled with that. And I think that I think for me, the switch was realizing that there wasn't anything else that I really wanted to do. Number one. Number two, I genuinely loved knowing about my own body and having the knowledge that I had about my own soft tissue structures and capabilities. That felt invaluable to me. 3, I loved being my own boss and making my own hours. And even if I was working for somebody else, it felt like I still had some control over that. It didn't feel like I was giving my soul away, which, a lot of corporate jobs can feel like that. So there was enough there that I was like, this is worth fighting for. And I want to try to then switch my brain to resenting the hard parts to loving the hard parts. And I think that's the switch that for me has changed a lot of everything in my life. Everything in my life. I mean, it is so easy to get angry at what's hard, and it's so much harder to lean in to what's hard. And if you can't change it, then you look at what's good about it. If you can change it, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to do. But if you're in something and it's hard, complaining about it isn't helpful to anybody or anyone. So, and I'm not saying this is easy. This is not easy at all, but I do think that for me, the switch was very much kind of getting to this mental state of like, what are you doing? Like, you've got this great career in front of you and you will get out of it what you put into it. And I just decided that was it. I'm just going to put everything into it. And here I am 25 years later.
And early in your days, did you come across characters, teachers, like in the massage world, who without you even knowing, but started feeding this idea of you teaching or you kind of doing your thing and creating your own, being a rebel, without thinking of the actual logo and everything, but being a rebel in your own way?
I don't know. I don't know that it was clearly that for me. I really loved my school. I loved my teachers. I mean, I went to an incredible school for massage therapy, and every teacher I had there made me feel empowered, which I think is one of the most important jobs a teacher can do. I never felt diminished. I never felt like I wasn't good enough. I never felt, belittled in any way. And that, I think, just started, it fed this part of me that needed to be fed. And I think that trajectory really did stem from my schooling. I'm lucky to have had that schooling.
Where, in terms of also what you felt as, playing your part in really the community and society as a massage therapist back then when you were in your early days, just as part of the healthcare system, even if you will, in
Mhm.
comparison to the role that it's playing today. Do you see differences? Do you see that it's playing a different role today? Has it evolved in the last couple decades?
Massage therapy in general?
Yeah, as in terms of
Yeah.
as part of serving the United States community.
Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh, Dani, I am sure you feel similarly, and I would be curious to hear your thoughts on this. But I think the biggest struggle is kind of what I was referring to earlier, that massage therapists don't have a heap of schooling, and what we get is a certificate as opposed to a doctorate or a master's or even an undergraduate degree for the most part. And I think we get stuck in this realm of feeling like we're not quite in the medical community, or we're not quite deserving of I don't want to say the accolades, but the maybe the respect or the stature that a lot of professionals have in the medical community. And I think massage therapists get stuck in this kind of like, well, I do know a lot and I do know what I'm doing and I'm very good at what I do, but I'm not invited to sit down with a bunch of doctors and talk about whatever it is that doctors talk about. So I think there's this funny in between place that massage therapists live in that is very genuinely and very intuitively smart, really smart on the connected level, on all of the things that we are as humans, that is not just the muscle system or the fascial system or the systems that make us who we are, but more also this element of the human spirit. And if you want to trace it back to Chinese medicine or any kind of spirituality or philosophy of how we look at life and how that influences who we are, Ayurvedic medicine, any of that stuff, I think massage therapists are incredible with that. And I feel like to see that evolve through the years has been amazing. Because I know, when I went to massage school, I took a history of massage class, and to know that it started from a more intuitive sense. It started from this like very like thousands of years ago, people just having this kind of like, I feel like you are empty and now I want to make you full, or whatever it is. I think that to have it start from there and then hit this scientific like wall where we had to prove everything was important, but also hard for massage therapy. And I think we're now growing back, like the pendulum has swung from being so kind of respected in villages kind of thing to being at this hardest point of hitting a lot of blockades and a lot of obstacles. And I think we're swinging back up. But I think the important thing is for all massage therapists and hands-on practitioners and all the different methods that massage therapists practice to really lean into and believe in this whole part of what we do that is very incredibly intuitive based and empathic. And we sit with our clients for an hour and we listen and we understand. I don't want to say more because it's not more, it's that we understand on a different level. And I think that is gaining more strength and gaining more momentum. And I hope it continues to go in that direction.
I think so as well, and I think it seems that way. It seems that most would agree now that there are problems that people are facing in the healthcare industry when it comes to themselves, their spouse, their kids, but everyone has issues. And if you're above the age of 30, then your neck hurts, or your shoulder hurts, or your hip hurts, or your knee hurts, or your ankle hurts. And if it doesn't, then it'll start next week, and it'll be just a revolving cycle of something hurting all the time. So people realize that. And I think, it seems like at least that people are starting to realize that these short-term solutions of pain medications, or, just, really taking drugs just to, get by another day is probably not the best solution long-term. And then there is at least the pendulum has swung where it's okay and quote unquote normal to look at alternative therapies. And I think that ironically massage therapy is maybe on the more accepted side of the spectrum of alternative therapies. If you want to tell your friend about it without your friend thinking you're crazy, that you're going to see this a massage therapist, you're not doing something tarot card reading or something for your neck pain or something like that, not to dismiss any other modalities, but it is. So it really does seem that way. And I think that it is helpful. And I think that, it's tough to tell, what you're talking about with certificate versus, different types of, diplomas and degrees out there. It's difficult to tell like what those effects would have, but it's like would it cause massage therapists maybe to have more self-respect in the work that they do? Probably, but as you mentioned about yourself, like no one needs to wait for that, right? No one because you, like, every individual has the power to bring that confidence as if they have an MD at the end of their title or not.
Especially these days. I mean, there is an endless amount of information accessible to us at any moment. I mean, when I went to school, and there was not social media, there was not the internet, there was nothing, there was no computers, there was no smartphones, there was none of that. And so learning information had to be from books in classrooms. And the fact that has now switched to unlimited access to anything you want to know is overwhelming, yes, but also the most incredible thing. I mean, I will definitely go down rabbit holes of just being like, well, what exactly is a stenosis or whatever it is? And then I start to kind of like dive in, and then I really understand the levels of a dysfunction that I don't think I could have had access to. I know I couldn't have. And so I feel like, maybe I don't have a degree, but I can speak to it in a way that is a lot more educated, has a lot more, just a lot more behind it than just kind of like, I don't know what that is. I'm sorry you have that client. I'm sorry, I can't help you. I'm not sure. And being able to sit in a space where we do have clients that have a lot of issues that we maybe don't know about, that's going to happen all the time. We learn this much information. There's endless amounts of information. And so to be able to say to a client, I don't know about that one yet, but let's look into it together. Let me look into it, and we can start to figure out what I can do to help. And I think that kind of stuff is just invaluable, just totally invaluable.
I also, to really to empower massage therapists, it can't be underestimated, like the amount of hours that massage therapists are actually touching like human bodies is unprecedented in comparison to other like every other profession. So it's really unbelievable, because even me, I'm not a licensed massage therapist. I don't treat anyone, but just by touching my wife's knees and like just to learn about I feel like I'm learning so much. And I obviously don't have the license to touch anyone else's knees, around the world. So but because it's something that is of interest to me. Or even like we have a baby now at home, and he's 8 months old. And I remember, like, from literally week one, the thing that amazed me the most is like the ankles, the knees, the elbows. They're just like, it's all the same. It's just smaller. And I know it sounds silly, but it's not something I expected to see. It's like, it's all there. So just by touching his skeleton and his muscles, and you just learn so much about just the human body and about my own body. I know, so cute.
Little tiny scapula. I remember being totally enthralled with my kids. Little tiny scapula, like little tiny scapula. So cute. I love that.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. But it's like, it's a level of education that you just can't get anywhere else. No 3D, scan, or, no textbook or no pictures. It's just something else.
Yeah. And kind of going back to what you were saying before, I mean, I think that this is like the perfect example of that. So you have a kid, and you look at your kid, and you learn so much about so many things when you have a kid, so many things. But you see the way a kid moves, like a free kid, and there's so much mobility, there's so much movement, and there's so much happening, like on every single level, not just physically, but their whole spirit is just so free. And then you look at kind of, obviously, as we get older and adults, and the problems that we have, that freedom is gone. And one of the things that I think massage therapists understand more than anything, and this is kind of, going back to having a higher diploma or higher degree that gives you a specialty in hormones or, cardiovascular or whatever it is. Of all the things that go wrong with humans, stress is the biggest. Stress is the overlier and underlier and in-between liar, and affects every single system. And all the claims that are out there that are like, do you know why you don't feel good? It's your gut health. Do you know why you don't feel good? You're not sleeping enough. Do you know why you don't feel good? Like, all those claims are all kind of true, but all the things that stress does to us, it's like you can see this free little infant go from like so expansive to like just compacted down. And I think that's where massage therapy comes in. I think that the way that massage therapists work, we may not know it, we may not understand it completely, but the way that we can touch and manipulate and help soft tissue to feel better creates a whole upward spiral, an upward domino effect that takes stress out of so many layers of who we are. And that's not something that is entirely measurable, or it's not something that is entirely, we can't take a blood draw and really see the numbers that are changing, but you feel what massage therapy does, and you feel how your brain acts differently, and you feel how you sleep better, and you feel all of these things. And it's not a magic pill. It's just something that we do innately in our careers that is immensely powerful for how humans feel and act and behave in this world. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, I mean, no one will deny, anyone who's been through a massage, assuming it was a regular experience, is not gonna deny that. It's like, even if it's a 5-minute shoulder
Yeah.
airport massage,
Yes.
it still feels
Yes. Incredible.
it feels amazing. So at the minimum, it feels amazing, and
Yeah.
then you at minimum you're like on cloud 9 for
Yeah.
at least a few minutes after,
Yes.
at
Yes.
least. So at minimum. So absolutely, and I totally agree, and it's and it's like there's these dots that a higher level of society, the rule makers, if you will,
Mhm.
need to connect in order to legitimize certain things, which again the massage therapist doesn't have to wait for, as
Mhm.
long as it's within their scope of practice.
Mhm.
The layman doesn't have to wait for,
Mhm.
because I can make an appointment.
Mhm.
So it really shouldn't be in anyone's way, because the power is in our hands. It really
Yeah.
is. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, I do think that stress is the biggest culprit for so many things. And I do think that whatever massage therapy does for stress, I mean, I think then the conversation becomes, massage therapists can hurt people, and massage therapists can, have a client on the table and make them feel worse. That happens. But I think it's this, like, again, it's this fine line between being the kind of massage therapist who really specializes in orthopedic work, or rehab work, or medical massage, and trying to get in there and be super purpose driven with the work. Again, that's actually the work that I do, and I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot to that. There's a lot of power behind that.
And
But there's
also
also
sorry, I was just gonna say, but it's also like some orthopedic surgeons.
mm,
Some people go to an orthopedic surgeon and leave worse than what they,
true,
walked in. Like those things really
right?
happen everywhere at all degree levels.
So true. It's so true. And I do think that if massage therapists can kind of stay in whatever specialty they want to go into, if they can also stay grounded in this broader picture of just touch, like just touch, and how powerful that can be, I think there's like this beautiful growth that can happen there that feels unique to who we are and what we do. I mean, yeah, yeah. I had another thought, but I lost it.
It's what would what would you tell yourself 20 years ago when you got started, or like really today's next generation of massage therapists who are now in school, or the first couple years of their careers? What main advice would you give them?
I think I would go back to kind of what I was saying in the beginning. I think it's all overwhelming in the beginning. I think it can be physically hard. I think it can be completely overwhelming because you realize how much you don't know, and having to understand anatomy and physiology is not an easy process. And I think if like, one big thing would be patient. Be patient with that whole process. Give yourself time to gain strength, both physically and emotionally and mentally, and give yourself time to gain confidence, because the confidence will come, like you were saying earlier, Dani. I mean, massage therapists have their hands on thousands of people, and you really do. Every time you touch a knee, you learn something new. Every time you touch a shoulder, you learn something new. Every time you put your hands on a back and feel a breath, you learn something new. So I think really lean into that, like, side of learning that takes a lot longer to see the effects of. And then also, who the heck knows where we're going to be in 20 years? I had no way of predicting that I was going to have a YouTube channel. YouTube didn't even exist when I graduated. And I think the way that we tend to live our lives, all of us in general tend to live our lives like this present moment is how it's always going to be. And that's just never the case. We're constantly evolving. And what's going to be 20 years from now, there's no way we can predict. There's no way. I mean, we can look at things and try to figure out what's going to go and what's not going to go, and how things are going to evolve and move and change. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I had no idea that smartphones were coming, YouTube was coming, that social media was coming. No idea. And so, like, the things that are frustrating and hard is not permanent. And the things that you gain from this kind of work is permanent. So I think that's a good thing to keep in mind.
Do you have any, a lot of massage therapists and other practitioners, who may be listening, want to go for business, on their own and start their own businesses? Do you have specific advice, in that realm? That or you can choose to combine it or separately answer, but about marketing themselves and social media, specifically, because you were obviously early-ish into the YouTube game,
Yeah.
which is amazing, and now everyone's looking for the next thing. A couple of years ago, the
Yeah.
TikTok, right? So if you were the first
Yeah.
massage therapist on TikTok, you blew up.
Yep.
Now it's almost like there's a stalemate because everyone's on YouTube, everyone's on TikTok,
Yeah.
everyone's on Instagram, everyone's on Facebook. So as a result, anyone new is not
Buried.
is anyone who starts a TikTok page today, most likely is not going to get 1 million views on the next video, and that's the
No.
expectation. A lot of times people jump into this world,
Yep.
with
I mean, I agree. So I think I did get lucky. I definitely got lucky being in YouTube when I got into it. And social media is a hard one. It's a hard one. I mean, it is an algorithm, and fighting the algorithm is like punching a tidal wave. I mean, it's just you cannot master that whole thing unless you want to spend lots of money and lots of time on it, which I think depends on how you want to spend your time and money. But I do think that I will say this. I do think that it's a language you have to know because it's the world we live in. And I think anytime you want to exchange any kind of business information with anybody, it's always like, oh, just follow you on Instagram and message you on Instagram, or that just is the easiest thing to do. And if you don't speak that language, you're kind of missing out. So I think it's a necessary language we all have to use and learn. But I also think that if you do continue to be authentic in who you are and produce content, even though it's not getting 100 views or whatever, I think that the authenticity of it is the thing that shines through. And if you create content and then you have clients who want to know more about you and you can point them to your social media, it doesn't matter that you've got a huge following. What matters is what you're putting on there. And if it's authentic and real and coming from the heart, that's what the client's going to see. And I think that's the biggest thing. And I do think that slow growth is the best growth. I mean, anybody who goes from 0 to 10,000 followers in a day, that's going to crash and burn. And I think that just kind of leaning into the process of it and not trying to focus on the end goal of getting tons of views and tons of likes and tons of followers is the only way to manage it with your own mental health. It's too hard to kind of want all the clicks and views. And I think it's so much more about just having fun with it. If you have fun with it, be authentic. And if people like it, great. If not, great. Who cares? It's just about, having somewhere that a client that wants to see you can land and watch how you work and understand who you are. And I think that's a huge piece of it.
being on social media. Did you ever have to, or even today, like do you ever feel like, because you have so many readers, followers, viewers, that you need to cross that professional personal line, in a way, and maybe share a bit more than you would have liked to have, etc.?
That's a very good question, Dani. I mean, I think about that a lot because I think the trend these days is for everybody to have a camera on them all the time and just be filming their entire lives.
People are like filming their kids.
Everything. Like they're filming when they go to the bathroom and put on makeup, or get like drive to work. Or I watch stuff sometimes and I'm like, I'm seeing this thing that's happening, but somebody's there filming this, and that is what's mind blowing. Like that thing isn't just happening without somebody else standing there filming it, or somebody filming themselves. And the amount of filming that's out there is bananas to me. So yeah, I do feel that pressure, but I also feel like I've gotten to a point in my own life that I've pretty much decided. I do feel like I want to start inviting more of that kind of content into my professional world, because I think it's really fun. I'm sitting in my warehouse right now and in my studio, and I think it's really fun to film stuff about work. But I have very much decided that I don't want to open my personal life to that. And I really enjoy my privacy in that way. I don't want, I feel like that's an easy ground for anybody to be like, oh, you use that toothpaste? I'm not following you anymore, or whatever. I don't, it's
Yeah,
just, the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing is kind of silly to me. So I think that I like my private life and I want to keep it that way. And I'm open to trying to speak more of this current language within what I want to expose and what I want to be out there in the world, but no, not my private life.
Because that's it seems to me like almost like a side effect of just that communication, as you mentioned, with the algorithm. It's
Yeah,
like you're tailoring to the algorithm, and yeah, that's
it is.
how, yeah. So I was going to ask you about teaching. Is
Mhm.
there like something that, over the years or even today, that you specifically enjoy teaching the most?
I love teaching anatomy. I do. I love it. I have some videos where I paint muscles on bodies and I explain anatomy or muscle anatomy specifically in that way. I think I did the lymphatic system once. And I love doing that because I love painting. I love painting. I just can sit there and play with a paintbrush and paints, and that feels really fun to me. And when I'm teaching live, I love being in the classroom with people. I don't have a specific like dysfunction or body part that I particularly love teaching. I love teaching in a way that helps students feel like they can grasp information that they couldn't grasp before. So I don't know exactly, that doesn't always translate in the same way to every student, but I love trying to figure out like, okay, what is it that they're not getting about this one thing, or what is it that they're not willing, like they're blocked about in this one way. And so I love getting to a point where I can hopefully help somebody feel like, oh, I hated the subscapularis before, and now I love it because now it feels accessible, or now it feels understandable. So I think that's, yeah, I don't know. I
But
love
you
teaching.
enjoy, being in the classroom
I
and
do. I
and,
do.
and working with people.
I do.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
fun.
have you done, just out of interest, have you done classes like CE classes where you're teaching a business type or market, social media type things to massage therapists, or no?
Not specifically. That's
Yeah,
not true. I did teach one business class. I collaborated with a colleague of mine, and we co-taught a business class together, and that was really fun. But mostly it's techniques. Mostly it's hands-on techniques. But I do always think the conversation comes up. I mean,
yeah,
even within like a 1 day class or a 2 day class, there's always a conversation about, how do you like, how do you make this go, or how do you make this work, or how would you film this, or how would you, how do you get your confidence up, or how do you market, all those things.
yeah. Super interesting. And
Yeah.
how often do you post on, like, on your YouTube channel?
Not as much as I should, according to the algorithm.
Yeah,
But I was posting, I think it was like once a month before COVID hit, and then COVID hit and everything changed. And I have just recently gotten back into a place where I'm sitting in my filming studio right now. And so my life is really busy. So getting to be able to film is not the easiest thing, but I'm shooting for, my goal is to get back to being once a month, because I think it's an amazing way to just be in the community. Feels really fun to me.
and a lot of it is like pretty evergreen, helpful, practical stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Even the word evergreen is a good one, because I mean, what we know about muscles and soft tissue is constantly changing. So like, I did a
yeah.
video on the SI joint. I don't know, it was like 7 or 8 years ago. And that I need to redo that one. It's like, that was what I knew then. And I know so much more now. So There's a lot. There's always
Yeah.
stuff to be reanalyzed and reapproached and
Yeah. Ev-
reassessed.
but even that's interesting, just seeing progression in terms of, an educator's education, because it's like, even like I listen, I don't want to name names because nowadays podcasts can get political and controversial, even
Yep.
though this one that I'm talking about is not. But I sometimes I'll go back to listen to podcasts they've done 6, 7, 8 years ago,
Mhm.
and a lot of the stuff they say is not so relevant anymore because they've changed their opinions. But it's just interesting to hear them discuss those different things, with
Yes.
different people, and just the way they share it. And because, and 6, 7 years ago, they weren't sharing it in a dogmatic way. They were saying, this is my opinion now about this topic, so I'm expressing it. It might change in the future. And here they are 8 years later, they completely changed it, which will
Yeah.
segue. This will segue me to my last question. But what I with the but with that, but you're right. But the evergreen is a so not everything is evergreen, but it's a
Right.
lot. But it's a lot more. There's a lot more like lifetime value to each of those videos than a makeup video that someone's doing at home, which is probably relevant for a 24-hour cycle, or maybe like a 48-hour
Right.
cycle. But then people are looking for the next thing because
Yeah.
it's really just a placeholder for current entertainment. And that's the other
Yeah.
thing, right? Like the things that you produce, and also the stuff that we produce, is it's entertainment for a very typical person, but it's not really, right? It's for education purposes, for
Yeah.
that. And the nice thing, I think, also for the stuff that you do is like, if you're teaching one massage therapist something helpful and beneficial to that person,
Mhm.
then that effect, like, it ripples, to
Mhm.
many other people that they treat and
Right.
touch and work with, and colleagues, and etc.,
Right.
etc. So it's pretty so the reach is probably a lot larger than the number of views that you're getting, and that type of thing, and the engagement. So it's pretty cool.
I love that.
The last question that I want to ask you is about changing your mind. Is about, like, what is, one thing that, this is a question that I do ask everyone at the end of the podcast. What is something that you have, really fundamentally changed your mind on over the years, from when you maybe personal or professional, from pre-massage therapy, from massage therapy, completely up to you, but there's something that you've changed your mind on, with the idea of just promoting that it's okay to change your mind, and no one has to be married to their ideas, especially when they're young, and especially when they're early on in their careers.
Yeah, I mean, that is such a good question. And you prepped me with this one, and I still don't know that I have a great answer, except except to say that I think, going back to what I was kind of saying earlier, when I graduated from massage school, and uh, was I was just stubborn, and the things that were hard, I wasn't open to working hard. I wasn't open to leaning into that part of it. And I don't want to say, like, I feel like this is a hard thing to kind of talk about, because I don't want to imply that anybody is feeling like this is hard and not working hard. That's not what I'm saying. I feel like what I want to make sure is clear is that I was very stubborn. So this is specifically your question to me about what I've learned. I was very stubborn. I have been very stubborn my whole life, and I think that served a good purpose for me, but I think it also really blockaded me in a lot of ways. And when I was new in the career, my stubbornness really prevented me from growing. It made me think, well, the way I learned this was the best way to do it. And the way that I'm doing this is the only way to do it. And I would have opinions about other people doing things, and I would feel judgy, and I would then get really mad when, like, deeply mad and confused about why I was hurting. And or I had a client who didn't feel amazing after a session, and I would just downward spiral. And so I think one of the things that I have very much changed, that I'm very glad to have changed, is that I don't feel as stubborn anymore. And anybody who knows me, who might be listening to this, might be like, But I do think that I have learned the hard lesson of really understanding on a very deep level that everybody has a different thing that they need. Everybody has something different that works for them. And everybody has a perspective that needs to be heard. So whatever it is that I feel so sure about in my head, I'm not so sure about, not in an unstable way, but just in a way of like, there's so many ways to look at everything that we do and everything that we see and every interaction that we have. And being stubborn about my perspective is not a beneficial thing. So I've learned to let go of that.
Very good. Please, before we wrap up, please tell people where they can, find your stuff, on, YouTube, website, classes, all of the above.
Happily so. Thank you so much for asking. Rebelmassage.com is the website, and pretty much all of my YouTube is Rebel Massage. My Instagram is Rebel Massage Therapist. I do have a tiny TikTok presence. That's also Rebel Massage. Facebook is Rebel Massage. But rebelmassage.com is the main one, and all the links are there. And I make and sell products for massage therapists, which I hope you guys dive into and try, because I make them because I believe in them.
So those are your products?
Those are my products. I
Very
curated
cool.
them in my own kitchen, in my own tiny little apartment, and it's grown. And now I'm in a warehouse, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, I mean, they're really like, they're the kind of products that I was looking for when I was a massage therapist. And so I made them. And so they're all over on the website. I have CE classes over there. I have my own podcast. I have articles that I've written. I have a whole tutorial page of, like, body parts broken down with all sorts of access to videos and commentaries and more. So please head over there and drop me a line, because I love getting messages from you guys.
Amazing. So Alison Denney from Rebel Massage, thank you very, very much for your time. Pleasure speaking with you. And, hopefully we can do this again sometime. Hopefully we can do this in person, maybe from your nice warehouse studio there in California. I like the brick wall behind you. So I appreciate it. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Dani. And yes, come visit whenever you want.
Amazing. Bye-bye.